As a millennial, one of our favorite pastimes is nostalgia posting and lamenting how much better everything used to be when we were kids. One of those things is Kraft Macaroni and cheese. There seems to be a consensus that the sauce has gotten bland and much too sweet, while the noodles have gone mushy and lost their structure. People are looking for alternatives after generations of Kraft setting the box macaroni standard. So what changed since the 90s? Can it be fixed with science? I bought a 27-year-old box of Kraft to find out. I weighed the pasta and the powder from the old and new recipes. The pasta weights were identical at 169 grams or 6 ounces. The old powder weighed 44 grams while the new powder only averages 40.7 grams. That could potentially indicate a 7.5% decrease in powder. Unfortunately, an insect had bitten a hole in the 90's packet, so it's possible that some of its extra weight came from moisture absorbed from the air over decades. I'm going to use 44 grams as the benchmark since I don't want to waste more money looking for an intact 25-year-old cheese packet. We've identified some potential shrinkflation on the cheese end, but what about skimflation?
This is the biggest thing we've ever done, and nothing would make me happier than having nobody notice.
The recipe has changed several times over the decades. The 2016 reformulation removed petroleum-based dyes and replaced them with natural coloring. The new color is much more muted, and there's a good chance that this is partially responsible for the shift in perceived flavor. Numerous studies have shown that bright colors tend to positively influence the expectation and perception of food flavors. For example, which of these bowls of macaroni do you expect will have the most rich and sharp cheese flavor just by looking? Color can do a lot to affect the expectation and perception of flavor, but unfortunately that's not the only difference.
Unless people are looking at the ingredient label, they wouldn't know that we've changed the recipe.
Let's compare the 90's nutrition and ingredients to today's label, and do a few tests to see where Kraft went wrong in their pursuit of increasing shareholder value. The pasta recipes are almost identical, but the ratio of regular wheat flour and durum flour changed. In theory, these should be very similar pastas. Let's find out what the differences are, if the new pasta is mushier than the 90's stuff, and see if we need to look for an alternative pasta to recreate the 90's experience. Both dry noodles have an outer diameter of 3.4 millimeters. However, the old noodle has a 1.8 millimeter inner diameter, while the new one is only 1 millimeter. When cooked, the old noodle has an outer diameter of 4.88 millimeters and an inner diameter of 2.34 millimeters. The new noodle has an outer diameter of 4.6 millimeters and an inner diameter of only 1.37 millimeters. That means the 90's noodle had 32% more surface area, 3.2 times more tunnel volume, and carried 27% more cheese sauce per noodle volume. That's a pretty significant difference. I measured 20 grams of pasta from each box and cooked each for 9 minutes. The old noodles tripled in weight when cooked. The new ones absorbed 24% less water and only weighed 2.5 times its dry weight. Extrapolating to the whole box of pasta, you would end up with 530 grams of cooked pasta for the old recipe and only 430 grams of pasta for the new one. That's a difference of 100 milliliters, or about a half a cup of water between each recipe. Now, let's find out which pasta is mushier. I built a food texture analyzer out of a cheap kitchen scale that can bite through up to 8 prepared noodles while measuring the resistance. This will tell us how tender each version is. 4 noodles ended up being ideal for the range of my scale. After biting through 100 noodles of each, the results showed that the new pasta is actually 14% more firm than the 90's pasta. If the new stuff is firmer but people are consistently complaining about mushiness, then there must be something else going on with the texture. My hypothesis was that the new recipe might dissolve more during chewing, so I decided to test that in the most disgusting way possible. I measured out 20 grams of each dry pasta and cooked each for 9 minutes. I chewed each pasta portion one mouthful at a time for 56 seconds and exactly 75 chomps before spitting the pasta paste into a strainer. I rinsed the chewed pasta to get all of the loose starch through the strainer and into a pan. At this point, I should have simply dried and weighed the large pieces left in the strainer to find the difference. Instead, I boiled off most of the starchy water in the pan before allowing the rest to evaporate in pre-weighed cups. After about a week of drying, I found that the amylase in my saliva had converted the starches into maltose, and that the solidified yield looked and smelled like caramel. I weighed each cup and subtracted the original weight of the empty cup to find that the 90's pasta released 20% more starch during chewing than the new pasta. It turns out that the new pasta is actually less prone to dissolving, disproving my hypothesis. So why do so many people complain about mushiness? One thing that might be contributing is cracked pasta. In the first box I picked up for testing, every noodle was riddled with fractures. This happens when hydration isn't managed correctly during the pasta drying process, causing the outside of the noodles to dry faster than the inside. When cooked, these noodles end up with lots of splits and loose shards and shrapnel that ruin the texture. I don't know how often this defect occurs because the next 4 boxes I opened were fine. It's also possible that people are comparing Kraft against other brands which do tend to be much firmer. I measured Annie's at 21% firmer than current Kraft, while Great Value was a whopping 213% firmer. Almost any commercial pasta will offer more resistance than Kraft, so if you're a firm pasta enjoyer, you have limitless options. For the purposes of my project, Kraft still makes the closest thing I could find to their old pasta. It improves on the old recipe's firmness while still being tender enough to pair well with a thin cheese sauce. I do wish I could replicate the 90's version, but making dry pasta at home is nearly impossible. All of the 90's improvements will have to come on the sauce end. So what went wrong in the flavor department? I was hoping the 27-year-old powder had been preserved well enough to get some notes on the old flavor, or at least the pH. Unfortunately, the whole had allowed oxidation and microbial activity. It smelled violently fecal and was noticeably browner than it should have been. If anyone has a sealed cheese packet from the 90's, I'd love to get some better data. For now, all I can go on is the ingredients list, nutrition metrics, and my memories of the 90's flavor. Thankfully, the old powder was relatively simple. It used whey for a sweet creamy base, real cheddar cheese, and an unnamed granular cheese for a sharp kick. It contained 12 grams of satisfying protein per packet. The electric orange petroleum-based dyes made it an impossibly cheesy feast for the eyes. Citric acid added tang and amplified the sharpness. The new recipe has never come in contact with anything legally recognized as cheese. You won't even find cheese listed as an ingredient anymore. The cheese experience is simulated using several milk derivatives treated with cheese cultures and enzymes for 2 days before being spray-dried directly into powder. It has never been curdled, pressed, or aged for months like real cheese would be. This enzyme-modified dairy substrate is fast and cheap to produce, but the flavors lack complexity and are noticeably inferior. This study found that enzyme-modified cheese had bitter, astringent, chemical, sulfur, and even vomit-like notes, while natural cheddar was sweet, creamy, nutty, and buttery. Kraft has to keep their new powder mix on the bland side so that the upsetting flavors caused by enzyme modification don't stand out. The new mix only has 5.6 grams of protein, a 54% reduction over the 90's recipe. Protein affects satisfaction and the perception of fullness, as well as the final texture. However, it isn't cheap to isolate, so the new mix has traded it out for more lactose. The sugars have gone up 26%, making the new recipe much too sweet. Tapioca starch has been added for a thicker sauce, which could be a factor in the perceived texture and flavor downgrade. The new color comes from paprika, turmeric, and annatto, making it less visually appealing. Knowing everything that changed, I want to engineer 44 grams of gold dust that matches the nutrition, flavor, and color of the 90's recipe. I want real cheeses with a sharp kick, a good amount of acid for tang, and I want to bring back the protein while dropping the extra sugar. I found a cheese powder that contains real cheddar, as well as some whey and whey protein like the original. It also has the dyes I'm looking for. That checks 2 of my boxes. Unfortunately, it also includes palm oil, maltodextrin, and blue cheese, which aren't found in either blue box recipe. They shouldn't affect the flavor too much, though. I made a batch of macaroni with this powder as a direct substitute to see how far off target it was. The lack of sweet lactose was very apparent, and it was much too strong and salty. It was also far from meeting the required carbs, sugar, and protein of the original mix. It needed much more milk. After clumsily guessing and testing different ratios of powdered milk, lactose, and whey protein, I finally decided to make a table that would allow me to try different ratios of potential ingredients until they matched the stats of the old recipe. I took all of the values from the label and subtracted the carbohydrates and protein that would be expected from 6 ounces of pasta. This gave me the information I needed to replicate the powder's nutrition. After trying out several different ingredients in my virtual recipe, I was happy to find that I only needed 5 ingredients to get a match. 22 grams of fat-free powdered milk supplied almost all of the carbs, sugars, and protein. I didn't end up needing any whey protein concentrate, or added lactose. Kraft used whey products because they already had them as a byproduct of their cheese making. They mixed sweet whey and whey protein concentrate to make a product that behaved like and had the same nutritional profile as skim milk. This was more economical for them, but skim milk powder is cheaper and more available to the average consumer. It also tastes better and has more vitamins and minerals, making it a better option for this project. 15 grams of cheddar powder and 5 grams of Parmesan brought fat, salt, protein, and authentic cheese flavor, and more than enough artificial coloring. The cheddar I used is only about 1/3 cheddar by weight, so this recipe ended up being equal parts cheddar and Parmesan. Feel free to adjust the ratio to match your preference. 2 grams of salt topped off the sodium, and 0.4 grams of citric acid added a mouth-watering tang that amplified the other flavors. This doesn't seem like a lot, but it's equivalent to 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice, and it makes all of the difference in matching the tang of the 90's recipe. In the end, I created a recipe that was closer to the 90's nutrition profile and flavor than the current product. It cut down on the sweetness, brought back the sharpness and complexity of real cheese, brought back the protein, and matched the appetizing color of the 90's product. These elements combine to produce something truly special that should never have been tampered with. It looks and tastes just like I remember, and my inner child is pumped. I had some willing test subjects try both formulations side by side, and almost everyone preferred the 90's one, or at least enjoyed them equally. The younger subjects seemed to have a higher tolerance or preference for sugar, but enjoyed a mixture of both versions more than either one on its own. If you're thinking of trying this to save money, you won't, but it's close. The ingredients come out to around $1.20 per batch of powder, and another 50 cents for the pasta. I think it's worth it for the experience, the nostalgia, the real cheese, and the ability to tailor the recipe to your preference. Do try this at home and let me know if there's any other recipes you want me to replicate. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you for watching.